welcome to another version of the Just Jazz Cafe. It's me, Leroy Downs, once again, man, and we continue to do it, man, talking to some of the flyest people on the planet. Now, let me show you the shirt that I'm wearing today. I'll step up a little bit. That's
All right. Wow,
your
that's
boy
cool.
right there, man. And look, it's Thelonious, but Thelonious Monk, McCoy Tyner, all the names are together here. And why
Oh,
am I wearing such a fly shirt? Because I got, a fly cat with me, man. The one and only joining me today. I know you're happy to see him, Mr. John Beasley. What's up, sir?
well, Leroy, what a great T-shirt that is, man.
Man,
Where'd you get
Ramage,
that? Huh?
Ramage is one of our great artists here in
Oh,
Austin.
Ramses. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. We'll be doing an interview with him and a couple other cats too, man. But yeah, every year at the Monterey Jazz Festival, man, he always, tosses me a shirt. And, I try to wear it on stage and say, hey, you can pick that up right over there, man.
He's a great artist.
Yeah. Well, man, speaking of great artists, I got one with me today. You, Brother Beasley, man, we've known each other for a long time, kind of watched all the things that you do in your career, man, and you really make something big out of music. And you talk about Monk, man, which is a great inspiration for all of us. But you've just taken it to the next level.
Thank you.
So we know you got a band called Monkestra, and playing a lot of Monk music, of course, and those albums are dope. The first two, but now there's a brand new one called Monkestra Plays John Beasley. Tell me about that, man.
Well, like you said, Volume 1 and Volume 2 were all Monk tunes, and all arranged by me for a big band. And because it was a big band, I didn't really play a lot of piano. And so instead of doing another whole record of Monk tunes, we decided that I would do some writing this time. And, all my other records have been a lot of original music. So I was able to write some new material to orchestrate some of my older tunes. And there's some Charlie Parker on there. Got a Duke Ellington tune on there and 2 or 3 Monk tunes as well.
Yeah.
Also, it's not all big band. It's there's a quintet track on there. There's a septet track. Sometimes with Monkestra, we'll travel with 7 people instead of a big band. It's like 4 horns,
Right.
and makes it a little easier to travel. And so we decided to record that band as well, that version. And yeah, we're totally excited about it. Some different instrumentation. Some of the same old faces, it's the band has been together, and they're so great. They make the commitment, and they're so much a part of it. The guys, most of these guys have been with us since the beginning, so it's really sort of our band.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I listened
Yeah.
to the album, they fantastic. So I heard all the different variations on there. And one of the things that you mentioned that I always think about, look, some artists have, they have 5 or 6 people working for them. They're booking all the flights and the hotels and making sure that everything is right for the cats, man. And I know you do your work, man. And how is it taking a big band, Monkestra, on the road, man? It's got to be rough.
Oh, it's fun. What do
I
you mean,
know
man?
it's
It's like
fun.
a nonstop party, man. 15, 16 people. It's a lot of fun, man. Um, but yeah, my wife Lorna manages the band. In fact, it's really her band. I'm just the musical director of the band. She does a great job of, communicating with our agents, and then doing what they call advance work, advancing the gig. Making sure the hotel's right, the equipment, um, the sound, and then the flights is a big thing.
Sure.
So. But we've been lucky. The first 2 years, we did something like 45 dates. You
Ooh.
know, 2017, 2018, and then last year we did. We probably did 20 or 30 concerts, something like that. So we've been really lucky. People, like seeing the band live. It's got a lot of energy and a lot of different kind of elements to it, and they can tell we have fun. And
Oh yeah.
uh, you know,
There's so much soul and so much rhythm, man, that the audience is just vibrating together with you guys when you play, man. And speaking of that, it is 2020, brother. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and haven't been any gigs for a while. But we did have one not too long ago, man.
The old days, chained to dark rooms, weeping into bales of cotton, heated by the fire of oppression, lost, singing such beautiful songs in the night, sad songs, sad songs. Lost the daylight of our
You said it was
health.
your first gig in quite a while. It was Jazz Musicians Unite Against Racism, and we really had a good time the other night.
Yeah, it was at the World Stage, and I think for just about everybody I talked to out of the three bands, it was our first gig since mid-March.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, I played for about an hour. I played with Kamal and a couple tunes with the trio, and then a tune with Danny Jacklow, and then a tune with Dwight Tribble. And I woke up Sunday morning, man. I was tired. I don't get those same chops anymore, man. It's not playing. It's something that I didn't know that I had sort of like lost in a way, and that's that gig stamina. I mean, I'm used to going on the road and playing every night, and not thinking of a thing out of it, not thinking anything of it. But and then I was starting to think that, wow, man, I think it's been since probably the fourth grade since I've gone this long without playing music with other people. I mean, I'm playing music here all the time by myself.
Sure.
And I've been overdubbing for people's records, and I've done some live streams. But I think it's the longest it's been since then. And it's another kind of communication. It's nonverbal. When you make music with people, it's a whole nother kind of communication that goes down. And I know I'm not alone. We were all feeling the void of that, slight depression, like wondering what's wrong with me. Of course, there's a lot of other things to be depressed about,
Sure.
but that was something that it didn't dawn on me until several months in that, oh, well, a huge part of my life, just playing music with other people is missing.
Well, I mean, we're so social as musicians, man. It's the gig, it's the hang, it's the rehearsal, it's getting that music tight, and when you play together, man, it's so satisfying. And after the gig, you see the folks who came out that you haven't seen in a while, and you hang with the band and food, and that's part of the great things that this life of music is all about. And now we're by ourselves and we're talking to microphones and computers, and that energy doesn't come back the same way. It's still getting things done, but
I mean, I noticed that early on when I did must have been beginning of April, maybe. I did a concert for the Tokyo Blue Note. They did it was right around the International Jazz Day, so it was the end of April. And they did a huge online streaming concert from people all over the world. And everybody was kind of doing it by themselves, And I did one here. And it was fun. I had fun playing. But there was no feedback from the audience, man. And, I got to say, I felt sort of cold afterward. I was like, man, how come I'm not like got energy? How come I'm not feeling so great about this, and it's the audience is so important to jazz music, man. It's a communal, Miles always says jazz is what does he say? Jazz is social music, man. In fact, he hated the word jazz. He called He called it social music, and it totally is.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, well, look, now you get a chance to know how it feels to be a DJ that works 3 a.m. to 6, and then goes to sleep, and then there's no feedback at all.
That's right. That's right.
You don't know. I hope they listen. I hope they got it. You know, you guys are stepping into my.
You don't get any call-ins from 3 to 6?
No, man. Now, sometimes what I do on the radio is I put out a call. I'm like, oh, I'm interested where you're at right now. So give me a buzz, send me an email if you're in, if you're in South Africa, Germany.
That's right.
And, people are listening online, and once or twice I'll get a bite, which is great. It's lovely to know that people all over the world are paying attention to jazz and checking out, some of the things that we get a chance to do. You mentioned International Jazz Day, which is huge. It's a day, April 30th, that we all celebrate all over the world. There's a gigantic concert that comes together, but there's also a series of little concerts that anybody can do individually to be a part of this global, I was about to say global pandemic, man. I don't want that word in my mouth anymore. But this global love to celebrate jazz, and you're the music director, and I know you've been to Istanbul and other countries, but you got to tell me how jazz at the White House was, man.
Oh,
this is back when. Hold on, let's clarify.
Yeah, right.
Obama.
There's no jazz happening in the White House right now. That's for sure. Plenty of blues, but no jazz.
Yes.
Well, anyway, it was the April before Obama. It was April of Obama's last year of being president.
Okay, yeah.
So Michelle Obama, we all know now, is a huge music fan and jazz fan. So she really wanted to put one of the last concerts they had on the South Lawn there. She wanted to do a jazz concert.
Yeah.
So she reached out to her friend Herbie Hancock. They're both from Chicago. Chi-Town. And, Herbie told her we always do this program every April 30th. And the White House got involved. She had ideas of what musicians she wanted to have there, and even what songs. She's just super Pat Metheny freak.
Oh, really?
I should say fan, called it first. So, she had some ideas of Diane Reeves and all these people. So, we got together a couple days before. I mean, I spent a good month working on that program, doing pre-production and getting everybody who's going to play with who, help pick tunes and stuff like that. So we did the first day. We did Diane Reeves in the East Room, I think. One of the beautiful rooms inside, and then Diane Krall did one in the Blue Room. Did a couple tunes there, and then the next day was the big concert out on the South Lawn. They put this big big tent out there, and the columns are in the back, and they sprung this thing on the last minute on me. They wanted the military trumpets, they're like these long trumpets. I don't know if you've seen them, but
no.
They look like Roman trumpets. They do to announce dignitaries and when the president comes in, and they play "Hail to the Chief," Right. So I had this idea is that we had they were on the railing and they were going to play "Hail to the Chief," which they did to usher, and then we went into a second line version of "Hail to the Chief."
Oh yeah.
So it was really fun. It was really great. Chucho Valdez, Christian McBride. We did a whole tribute to Miles. There must have been 5 or 6 of us. There were Miles alumni live. Marcus Miller, Wayne, John McLaughlin, Chick, Herbie, me. There were 6 of us, right?
Yeah.
So we did a version of Spanish Key, with all those dudes in it. It was killing. Hugh Masekela, it was, and those things are always fun. They had this big another tent for us to all hang out. Because of security, we were there all day because you can't just come in and out of the White House. In fact,
Go get a burger.
it's nothing like that, man. Believe me. In fact, it was sprinkling a little bit, and somebody had tried to jump the wall, so they had to go through this total lockdown.
Oh man!
So they took everybody off the grounds into this parking lot of the Treasury, which is next door, and it was like a great day in Harlem. All these cats hanging out, taking pictures, talking. It was a little misty. That was something. I mean, we were out there for about an hour. Wayne Shorter, yeah, like that. Jimmy Heath. It's just you name it. They were out there hanging out, and taking pictures, and hugging, and having these conversations.
And those are some of the most precious moments that we have in this music, man. Is hanging out, talking to each other, especially when the young guys get a chance to be around the elders and talk to them and listen to those stories. I mean, that's kind of what gives us the energy, man, to keep creating and going on, and it's total respect for all those who've dug the path and come before us, because it wasn't as easy flying and playing for some of those guys when they had to kind of take the trains, and you're talking about hotel accommodations. It was a little hard.
Green Book, man.
The Green Book, you know what I'm saying? Our brother Chris Bowers did a beautiful job with that one, man.
Yeah.
But yes, you couldn't stay in hotels where, they didn't let colored folks stay there, man. But the good thing that came out of that was the fact that you got a chance to stay at some neighborhood house, and the wife was cooking, and the husband is welcoming it. And that's, we continue on with that same tradition today.
Duke Ellington had a train car.
Who? Well, Duke had his own train car?
Two train cars. One for the band, and he had like a little suite in the back, a little office in the back.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Hey, we're doing things a little differently now, but the one thing that's always stayed true is that, there's all this love amongst the jazz musicians, and, we get a chance to carry on and create, and that's such a wonderful life, man.
Most definitely.
And you as a musician, and as a jazz musician, but it's much more than that. We're talking about composing. We're talking about arranging. We're talking about doing movies like 007, Skyfall and Spectre and Wally and all these other great movies that you've been involved with too. Tell us how it is scoring some of these films.
Well, I mean, composing is like improvising. You're just writing it down. And the thing that's great about working on films is that you have this visual influence that you can draw from. You have a mandate, in other words, and a visual inspiration to draw from. And the team I work for Thomas Newman, who's the composer on all those movies, and he lets us improvise a lot over the cues, and be creative. He trusts us to be creative. So it's a very jazzy way of working,
I love that.
Yeah. It's a great thing. Yeah.
How do you be John Beasley, but keep the John Beasley out of what you're creating for a movie?
Well, I think that at this point in my life, people call me to be myself, and they like my flavor, if you will.
Yeah.
Early on in my studio career, I might be asked to play like Stevie Wonder or Greg Fillinganes or Elton John or somebody like that on a record date or a TV commercial. It was great. I used to love not knowing what I was going to play or what style I was going to play until I got to the gig.
That's great.
But all those things made me be a better jazz musician. They make me well-rounded. When I was playing with Chaka, really learning how, or being exposed to playing deeply in an R&B pocket has helped me play in a pocket in the jazz world. It's the same thing. A beat, a groove is a groove is a groove is a groove is a groove. And basically it's the same nuts and bolts stuff, learning learning when to play out more, when to lay back, having a good time feel. Um, yeah, I love to be a studio musician. It was great. And I'm still now. It's like I'm arranging for a lot of records and producing records. So bringing all those skills, even the movie skills,
Mm.
to arranging. It's instead of it being a visual inspiration, I'm getting inspired by the lyrics. Like the other day with Kamal.
Yeah, yeah.
We hadn't heard
So
we hadn't we hadn't heard that poetry. We were just listening to him and scoring his poem, if you will.
Well, that's a special thing that happens with jazz. You can do that. Just, I heard him like say, yeah, it's a little feeling like this or whatever. You do, you'll get it. And as soon as he starts talking, you guys create. That's spontaneous. That did not exist before that moment.
Right. And that's what we try to do on these movies. We might do several different passes. We might edit what we do, but we try to go for that first inspiration because most times that's the right thing. Poetry, then you can always edit, but usually your first instincts are the way to go.
Yeah. Well, what happens when you have to do like take 4, 5, and 6? If you have to do something like that, musically, I just know for me, all right, I got to do that again. I lose something a little bit every time I do the thing over again. It's like, we should just grab what you need from take 1, because that was the most
fresh
inspiration and energy and freshness that I had. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're getting paid to be there and you're getting paid to do what the leader wants, or it's their record or their producer or that composer, then you got to dig deep and try to figure out what it is that they're not getting and try to give it to them.
Yeah.
You're there, you're getting paid to be there. You might as well play music, even if it's the same tune every once in a while, every other time, And you gotta learn how to find new angles every time, because nowadays you can comp tracks. Oh yeah, this bridge I like here, this 8 bars here,
Yeah.
They can go back to the first pass after you leave. They
Right.
go,
right.
That was good. On these jazz records, though, like this new record, actually all the Monkus records, I don't think we've ever done more than 2 takes.
Yeah, that's fresh.
There's not enough time.
No, you got a lot of cats.
Or money.
Well, how is television any different? I know you do like America's Got Talent and some other big shows that are on television. I'm sure that's a whole different dynamic in terms of creativity that you use, or is it just like, okay, we just got to do this?
Well, I worked on American Idol.
Actually. Oh, American Idol. Okay.
Yeah, I was the arranger on that show for, I don't know, 13 years, something like that, whatever that was. Yeah, well, that was a whole nother thing. It was like an education experience. I felt like I was mentoring some of those contestants because, shoot, probably 80% of them never even played with a live band before.
Really? Wow.
Well, yeah, they're young, they don't have that kind of experience.
Sure.
And there's no music in the schools a lot of times nowadays. So, and especially that kind of music. So, learn how to navigate that and all that pressure, all that evil, man, social media pressure they would be under, man. They'd be crucified, and then to go on live TV and be critiqued by Simon and, it's a lot of pressure for some of these young people, man.
Sure.
For anybody. I couldn't have done it.
And then afterwards, they got the camera on you when you didn't.
Yeah.
If you did,
it's terrible, man.
Yes.
So after a while, I thought, wow, man, how can I write these arrangements to really support them?
Mm-hmm.
Not only emotionally talking with them, but how can I make it so that it's easy for them to sing to? And, so I ended up like not writing a lot of string lines around the melody, so in case they rubbed up against it and made a mistake or something, it wouldn't be so obvious.
Right,
you
right.
know. So you know, I kind of learned about compassion in a way, you
Mm,
know.
mm.
And then, you know, realizing that, man, you know, to play jazz takes a lot of courage, man. Same kind of thing.
You think it's
Takes a
courage?
lot of courage, man, to play jazz music.
I thought it was just like this natural energy that people, oh, you just got to do it. But why do you
Well, of
say
course, you just
courage?
got to do it, but it takes a lot of courage to get up there and play a tune you don't know, especially when you're young and you're learning this music, man. You know, or when I remember being playing with Freddie, and Cedar Walton would be sitting right behind me, you know, or Freddie would come up right behind me and look over my shoulder while I'm playing a solo.
Oh man.
It just takes courage, man.
Yeah, what does he say? Come on, man. You know, we all have
Bobby McFerrin said jazz is having the courage to go from one note to the next note.
Mm.
Because
Well,
you're making it up, you know.
oh yeah, no
You
doubt.
know, and you know, you at some point, hopefully, you're learning how to make your own sound. You're not. It's great to learn Charlie Parker and Bird, and I mean, you gotta have that language because that's the vocabulary. But at some point, you start adding your own thing to it, and you know, you're gonna fall.
Yeah.
You're gonna fail, and unless you fail, you don't know what to work on.
Mm.
Failure is part of learning,
One of
but
the things
you're failing in front of an audience.
yeah, no doubt, man. One of the things I love about jazz is like, it's like walking on, you know, a lake that's frozen over, right? You take a step and you think of that step as a note, and every time you do it, like 7 cracks go out. So it's like
Yeah, that's good.
you can go any direction you want. It's like, oh, you know, it's like every time you play a note, there's all this expansiveness that immediately happens and appears as soon as that note not fully resonates, but as soon as you get it. I mean, the mind is so fast, John. I mean, I don't know how our minds work so fast. You could look out your window and go, oh man, I see an accident about to happen. You couldn't explain what's going to happen, but your mind has already seen the accident happen. Then you sit back and watch, boom, there it is. You know, but there's no way that you can verbally get all that out and express it that quick.
That's right. That's right. And some do it better than others.
You know?
You
Well,
know?
for you, man, I know that, you know, last week was special for you. It was somebody's special birthday, somebody who made sure to put you on the right path. As a matter of fact, you had 2 of them, Lyda Beasley and Rule Beasley.
That's right.
2 great parents that were in the music. I think your grandparents were in the music too, man. So you kind of didn't have a choice, man, to be creative, bro.
Yeah, they were very supportive of me, you know. Of course, my mom didn't really want me to be a musician, but, you know, she was, I mean, I learned so much from my mom. And, you know, she had me playing in her bands when I was 6 years old. And I got a lot of experience, you know, watching her rehearse a band. It came in really valuable when I started doing, you know, arranging for studio groups and then having my own bands and stuff, learning how to rehearse a band. And then my pop, you know, my dad was a professional musician and taught music. You know, he was always playing Charlie Parker and Art Blakey and Jimmy Smith around the house, you know, and so yeah, I was lucky in that way. I still talk to my dad when I get stuck. You know, hey man, how do you do this? Is
Oh,
this
that's
all
great.
right?
Well, I know they're both so proud of you, man, you know, and of course, you know, rest in peace, mom. You know, I know it's a special part of your life. And she was so huge in Santa Monica, too, just raising lots of and teaching lots of kids their music education, man, you know.
Right.
You know, I guess maybe when we were younger, you might think of it as, oh, that's your music teacher, you know, beat you over the ruler, beat you over the knuckles with a ruler or something. But now it seems like every university, you know, it's like they all got the jazz musicians. They all got the cats teaching, whether it's an adjunct thing or not. But it's like, if you're a young student, it's like, you're going to go to the university. Oh, he's there. I want to go to this one, because folks are putting out those years of experience through the educational channel as well.
Yeah, I just think that there's a void in early education in this country, though.
Oh, no doubt.
Like I said the other day, can you imagine if every kid was educated on the equal economic level? Every kid from Agoura Hills to Compton?
Yeah, well.
Or Jackson, Mississippi? Can you imagine that? What amazing country we would have? It wouldn't take that much, man. Maybe 10 less bombs. Just a little crack in the defense budget would go a long way, man.
That's it.
And the thing is about the college jazz scene is it's sort of replaced. Well, it's replaced the void of gigs. When I was coming up, I didn't go to college. I gigged. I gigged with all. I was talking about the other night, John B. Williams and Larry Gales and all these gigs around town. It was, you went and played, even if it was top 40 bands.
Sure.
You played at night, and that's how you met other people, and that's how it became your scene. You kind of did it on your own within the community. But because there aren't gigs like that, because of the advent of the DJ, it's cheaper for a restaurant and a bar to hire a DJ, so they don't do bands anymore. So thankfully, in a way, the colleges have filled that void. That's your scene when you're young. That's how you learn. You learn from those older teachers, and you learn at night in the practice rooms having jam sessions with your peers. It's cool.
Well, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but elementary school, junior high school, never was presented with an instrument at all.
Yeah, I believe it.
I never had a music class. And there was this guy I went to school with. His name was Jerry Johnson. I always remember Jerry because Jerry in fifth and sixth grade, he had a trombone. I'm like, how's he know how to play that? Like, what's he doing walking around with a trombone? I'm like, so I was always kind of curious, but maybe not curious enough to go ask him. But I'm like, how do these guys play music, And never any classes for me, man. But it was actually the World Stage and Marla's Memory Lane.
Right. John
Rangel and Phil View and Trevor Ware and all those guys playing the Fifth Street Dicks and all. I'm like, I was soaking it up.
Yeah, that's great.
I have to be a part of this somehow. I didn't know how to be a part of it because I didn't play, but I want to be up in it, So,
right. How did your friend learn how to play the trombone?
He probably had lessons. I should probably.
But I mean, at school, or they didn't have a band or orchestra at school?
Not that I recall.
They probably didn't.
I wasn't. I don't know. Maybe his parents just decided to give him some lessons to play or something. But
that's true. Since the '80s, mid '80s, slashed arts funding like crazy. So, yeah. You had to move to Agoura Hills. Anyway.
Some of your education was on the stage with, as you say, Freddie Hubbard and Miles Davis. I mean, tell us a Miles story, man, that still stays with you today.
I think Miles was like probably the most dedicated artist I've ever been around, working around. I mean, when I was with him, it was the last couple of years of his life. He had bad hip problems. He had diabetes. He wasn't feeling good. There would be a cot off the side of the stage. Sometimes he'd have to go lay down in the middle of a set, but he would always come back. He listened to every show, practically every night or the next morning, and had a comment for somebody in the band or all of us, before we went on stage the next night. You go to his room. He'd either be listening to music, or his trumpet would be on the couch. So you pick up the trumpet. There would be at this time he had canvases on the floor, doing this acrylic sort of powder sort of technique where he would just drop powder on the thing. He was painting. He'd have his wardrobe guy out there talking about, what he wanted to wear or designing a new outfit. It was just art all the time. Yeah. One time, the thing is that sometimes he would say things, it would be cryptic, and he would say things and it would take years for me to figure out what it meant, One time, right before we went on stage, if you can't comp like Ahmad Jamal, then don't play. I'm like, well, I got all analytical. Well, the only time I've heard Ahmad Jamal comp was for a bass player, But finally I realized that what he meant is that when Ahmad plays, he's in and out. He'll make a statement and then he'll lay out for a while. He'll play big, and then he'll get really soft. He has dramatic statements. So,
I mean, to tell you that right before a gig, that's hardcore on folks, man. It's like you trying to figure out the meaning, and
Well, we weren't there to screw around, man. We were playing with Miles Davis.
I know.
We were ready. We were ready.
I hear about that cat a lot, man. Lots of great stuff. Well, look, man. One of the records that you did for Resonance Records was about, one of our great heroes in the music that's still out there, putting the music out today, man, Herbie Hancock. I'm talking about Letters to Herbie. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration for that. I know we talked about it before, but let's,
That was a while ago now.
Yeah. Well, how many years ago was that?
Maybe 10? I don't know.
We did an interview. John had a performance in Beverly Hills at this, home studio. And I remember we did an interview out in the back and talked a little bit about it. Hey, and we're still doing it today.
That's right. Here we are. Let's see. Letter to Herbie. The guy that owns Resonance Records is a guy named George Clavin. And he offered me this record deal. But he said, but I want you to do Herbie Hancock. And I was like, that doesn't sound like such a good idea. As a piano player, you should have one of your trumpet players or something, another instrument do that,
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So a couple of months later, I was, of all places, I was in the middle of Utah, in Ephraim, Utah, teaching with Carl Allen at Snow College, like a camp. And they had, this place was amazing. They had these Steinways in every practice room, So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in here and play on this nice Steinway. And then I started messing around with the chords of Tell Me a Bedtime Story. And I thought, something went in my mind. And, let me play it in the rhythm of Maiden Voyage. Ding, 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 ding. Right? And then I went, then I can attach Tell Me a Bedtime Story to that. Do, do, ding, do, do, ding, do, do, ding. Right? And I thought, I can mash this tune up.
Yeah.
And then the melody of Maiden Voyage went over those Tell Me a Bedtime Story chords with the rhythm of Maiden Voyage. And I was like, see, I can do Herbie if I can find a way to flip it, to make it more myself in a way, So, I called him up and said, I think I can do this, And, it still feels like a bullseye on my back, but I did it. And we had Chris McBride on bass and Jeff Tame Watts on drums, and Roy Hargrove on trumpet, and it's still out there, y'all. Y'all can check it out on any streaming service, and I'm sure you can buy it on Amazon.
Hey, but I got the real thing, CD. You gotta disturb it.
That's right. You can buy the CD on Amazon or at Resonance Records. Just like you can buy the new CD of Monkestra called Monkestra Plays John Beasley on Mac Avenue Records. Comes out a week from Friday.
What's the specific date?
The 21st.
There it is, the 21st. You got to pick it up, man. Monkestra Plays Beasley. I have it. It sounds fantastic. You're going to love it too. Man, Brother John, it's great always talking to you and hanging with you. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to give each other a dap.
Yeah.
We got to do the elbow things, you know. Yeah. But it's just really great being around and inside the music and with other musicians. We all were social distancing.
Yeah, we were all good.
It's the gathering, it's the togetherness, and it's that energy, man, that really makes, you know, life special for music and jazz music as well.
Well, you guys did a really good job. I'd love to see it if there's a copy around somewhere.
Yeah, we'll get it out there, man. It's got to be edited down a little bit, you know. But
are you guys going to rebroadcast it at some point?
There's probably going to be something like that. But we're doing, for all of you folks who don't know, we're doing a stream of concerts called Jazz Musicians Unite Against Racism. And we're doing, we just did one the other night. We're going to do one in September, one in October, and it's all leading up to November 3rd, voter registration day. So we're
voting day. November 3rd is voting day. Registration is now.
Oh, not yeah. Register now. Register now. But that's
so you can vote on the 3rd.
Yeah, and you know, we want to make a big change in this country, man. We want to get back to some love and not all this hate, man.
That's right.
But brother, I love you, man.
I love you too, man.
You are the cat. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only John Beasley. You got a chance to see him right here on the Just Jazz Cafe. This is what we do each and every week for your Wednesday morning. Grab a cup of coffee and hang out with Brother John Beasley. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming out with us today, brother.
Thank you, Leroy. Love you.
I love you too, man. Appreciate it.